Welcome to the Pearson Test of English, also known as PTE. This is the listening section, and the question in this session is highlight incorrect words. The test format for this is as follows. You will be given 2 to 3 tasks. These tasks are scored as partially credited. You will be given 1 mark for each correct word, -1 for each incorrect word. The minimum score is 0. The recording length that you will hear lasts between 15 to 50 seconds. The skill assessed here are 2 of them, and they are listening and reading. You will be given 10 seconds till the audio begins. Once the audio begins, you have to listen, match the word, and click on the incorrect word. Now here is a sample of what this test looks like. As you can see, at the beginning you will be given instructions such as this. It says you will hear a recording. Below is a transcription of the recording. Some words in the transcription differ from what the speaker or speakers say. Please click on the words that are different. This is your audio status box. It will tell you how long the recording is, as well as at what time it's starting and when it's about to finish. This is your progress bar. The moment the first progress bar appears, you must start following the audio. Keep your cursor on each of the word, and the moment you hear any word that is differently said, click on that. Now, let us have a look at what this task is all about. You will have to listen to a recording of a passage. As you listen, you have to simultaneously read the transcription of the same passage on the screen page. Some of the words in the transcription are different from the words in the recording. Your task is to highlight those words. The purpose of this task is to test you and how well you can listen and comprehend information. Now here are some strategies to answer this task correctly. You must begin by skimming the passage before listening to the audio. Yes, the time is too short, but try your best to familiarize yourself with the content. Listen and read simultaneously. As I had mentioned earlier, the 2 skills assessed here are listening and reading, so you must do both of these effectively. This will help you to understand whatever is being said faster. Also bear in mind, PTE uses a variety of accents. So if you understand the words beforehand, and when the audio plays, if you listen to a particular word and it's not clear to you, then maybe this will help you to understand it faster. Ideally, you are given up to 7 deliberate errors. As you're listening, you must click on these errors. While doing so, identify the corresponding words given in the script. You have to basically match each word to the audio. As you're doing, make sure your cursor is on the words or on the sentence and move it along with the audio. The moment the speaker says a different word, click on the word given on the screen. Now, there's a possibility that at times you might miss out on a particular word because there is so much to listen to. In case that happens, just move the cursor immediately to the current word the speaker is saying. You can scan the transcription for capital letters, as sentences often begin with capital letters, so you know when a sentence is about to end or when a sentence is about to start. So that will keep you prepared for what the speaker is about to say next. Mark the answers only if you're absolutely sure, because in this type of question you will be given Negative marking if you mark the wrong answer, the incorrect answer. Selected words will be highlighted so you will know what exactly you have marked. In case you have doubts, you can deselect, click again and then select the correct word. Now here is practice question 1. You will now listen to an audio recording. Before that, spend some time skimming this passage. As soon as the recording comes on, make sure that you take down the words that you hear differently. As this is a video format, it might be difficult for you to click on the word. For practice, you can write down the different word that you hear. Here is your recording.
Practice Test 1, page 46, Section 2. Highlight incorrect words. You will hear a recording. Below is a transcription of the recording. Some words in the transcription differ from what the speaker said. As you listen, circle the words that are different. Recording A.
When the European Economic Community was established in 1957, its aim was, in broad terms, to move towards closer political and economic cooperation. Today, the much larger European Union has a far-reaching influence on many aspects of our lives, from the conditions we work under to the safety standards we must adhere to and the environment in which we live. In order to achieve the free flow of goods and services, workers and capital between the member countries, they needed to establish mutual policies in areas as diverse as agriculture, transport and working conditions. When they had agreed on these policies, they became law. Now, though, the EU is concerned with a far wider range of issues.
Practice question 2. Again, you will hear a recording. Some of the words will differ from the transcription. As you're listening, you can take down the words that are different. Here is the recording.
Recording B. Stem cells are the body's master cells, the raw material from which we are built. Unlike normal body cells, they can reproduce an indefinite number of times and, when manipulated in the right way, can turn themselves into any type of cell in the body. The most versatile stem cells are those found in the embryo at just a few days old. This ball of a few dozen stem cells eventually goes on to form everything that makes up a person. In 1998, James Thomson announced that he had isolated human embryonic stem cells in the laboratory. At last, these powerful cells were within the grasp of scientists to experiment with, understand, and develop into fixes for the things that go wrong.
Now let us assess some common problems that people face when doing the listening task. The first problem here is word chunking. It is suggested that you use language widely, you practice listening to different types of sentences in different accents. It is always a good idea to break down your sentence to understand what are the words that link ideas together and how. So when you're practicing, you should do that. Most students don't do it. They don't know how to break down the words. In the case of highlight incorrect word, there are a combination of simple as well as complex sentences used. And when the speaker is speaking, sometimes students might get confused and not understand what word occurs where and why. So familiarizing yourself with the way sentences are formed will really help. The other major problem students face is the accent problem, inability to identify different accents, British, American or Australian. So that becomes a major hurdle. They miss out on important points or important words. Again, the third point here I would like to emphasize upon is vocabulary. People generally don't read enough And when it comes to these kind of tests, a severe lack of vocabulary is quite noticeable. And finally, grammar. Anything from tenses to prepositions, verbs, conditionals, adjectives, adverbs, anything is extremely important, yet a lot of people do not update themselves on grammar. So, these are some common issues and problems that students often face and that they should work on. Now, here are some important tips to prepare for the exam, especially for this particular part of the test. Remember, this is a listening test. It's mainly audio, so you have to try and figure out the information just by listening. Of course, there are a combination of skills used, but your major skill used here is listening. So you must learn to be focused, follow the transcription thoroughly, practice with podcasts. Podcasts are basically, you know, recordings of lessons. So you can pick up anything from your comfort zone to begin with, and then gradually you can go ahead and you can see how many words you can pick up. You can make a note of the number of words you've been able to identify. Train your ears to listen to different accents. When doing so, listen to the vowel sounds. Vowel sounds often slightly differ depending on which accent you're listening to. When doing so, reading is extremely important. As we earlier discussed, listening and reading both are an important part of this. So, read and mark unusual words in the transcript. That will really help you. Focus on homophones. So, you will at times listen to words that are similar in pronunciation, and I am not saying same, I'm saying similar, but they are different in meaning. For example, the words see and see. SEEC means to look, to gaze, while SEAC means a wide expanse of water. So there are many words like this in the English language. So if you practice them, if you understand the context in which they are used, this will really, really improve your vocabulary skills. Another important thing is to practice pronunciation. It is a good idea because the more you practice, the more you listen to other accents, the more you will be able to understand. If you just stick to your accent or your pronunciation, which at times might not be correct, then you will associate that sound with the other sounds that you're listening. And you might find that there's a difference, or you might not be able to identify the word at all. So be particular about this. Practice reading a text under time conditions. This will help you to understand the flow as well as your own fluency. You will be able to see how many words you are able to understand and or comprehend. You can also practice stress, intonation, and rhythm, which is used by speakers in the audios as well. You know, the rise and fall of your voice, the stress on the words. So, all of these things are extremely important. When doing so, you can highlight unusual words and phrases and listen to them repeatedly. So, in case it comes up in another part of the test, then you are already familiar with it and you won't have to spend too much time trying to understand it. That is the end of this particular question type or item. Thank you.